Welcome. I'm a true Michigander. I was born in Detroit and I've lived in different areas around there, like, Redford Township and Farmington Hills. And then I went to school in different places in Michigan, such as Central Michigan University and North Central Community College and Wayne State University. And I am now teaching here at Ferris State University. I love sociology, and I hope that you learn to love it too. What I really want you to get to know is how you can use sociology to understand your daily life. In the first section, we deal a lot with theories. Theories are perspectives or lenses that we put on in order to ask questions. One of the things that I like best about being a professor is working with majors. And one of my majors currently is Jeff Gibson. And to complete his degree, he has to do a capstone project. And that means that he has to do research and present his research professionally. He's decided to do research in the International Education Office.
Being an international student means being introduced to a new culture that is unfamiliar and must integrate for success. The purpose of the research and theories is to create a way the Office of International Education assist the international students during their studies in the United States.
Using conflict theory, we ask ourselves, where is the unequal distribution of power? The distribution of power can be things that are tangible or intangible. Tangible things like wages, abilities to go places without being kicked out, and intangible things like respect or fundamental rights. In the United States, the areas of inequality that are existing today are on the basis of race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, sexuality, gender, and social class.
Some of the inequalities they may face would be class struggle, because America is pretty diverse within class, but there are many countries that they may be really low income, or they may even be higher income. So a lot of these international students may not have experienced that before, and it's something that they're going to come across. And another issue that may come up is racism. Some countries don't even experience that at all, if it's just one race in this one country. So they may come here to America and then they see the different races and the inequalities that are put on the different races. So that's something they're going to have to experience and deal with. Cause anxiety, stress, may lead to homesickness and other issues. There are two Muslim sects in the religion in Saudi Arabia, the Sunni and the Shia. The Sunni are the more dominant group that dominates over the Shia, which is a problem when they come to the United States, because you have both international student groups, so you have the Shia and the Sunni, and when they come here, the Sunni tend to dominate over the Shia, which can cause problems. They have had threats where they make fun of the group, they make them feel really uncomfortable, which isn't great for the international students when they're here in the United States. So one of the issues that the Office of International Education has to deal with is providing support for the Shia and breaking up the conflict between the two groups. I don't think the Americans really realize that there is a difference between two religious groups within the Muslim community, just because they don't really, Muslim is Muslim to many American people and students and just the society in general. Functionalism is this whole idea that different parts of society work together as a whole. So what in society makes things happen? You have different institutions, it's kind of this term that we use, such as government agencies, education systems, you have the law, just these different categories, but without the other ones, they all have to work together in order for society to function. If one of them does not work, then that may cause other problems later down the road. So you need education to help fulfill government jobs, or become police officers. You need the training, so education is important in that aspect. So without education, some parts of society do not function. So we take functionalism to study these different examples. So when international students come to the United States for the first time, they may experience culture shock, which is stress that they have from not being able to communicate, not understanding the laws, just anything in general that's completely different from what they are used to.
International students who come to the United States have to learn about American laws, culture, and about Ferris State University as an institution.
Even going to the school, like, language is a huge issue. So if you're not, like, here in the United States, if you can't speak English or you have broken English, then that may cause stress on you, the stress on the person you're trying to communicate with, and it's just a big mess.
The Office of International Education works hard at training students to speak English. They have a program called Conversational Partners, where a student who is from the United States, who's been at Ferris for over a year, meets up with an international student and they talk. So that way the international student has an opportunity to form friendships and practice in real life situations.
International students are not blank slates. They carry the expectations of the country of origin. When many students arrive from the same country, they create a peer group. Peer groups are important for helping students to cope with the shared stress of integrating into the new culture. The shared language of the home country positively functions to strengthen bonds, and it reinforces cultural expectations from their home country. Yet, there is a downside. We call this downside dysfunction. When international students primarily associate with one another, they hamper their opportunities to perfect their English and integrate into American culture.
Symbolic interactionism is a way to understand shared cultural meanings that are common to a group membership. We ask questions like, what are the shared understandings of a social group, and how are socially shared meanings transmitted? Pauses, eye contact, gestures, phrasing, and context are some of the factors that play into meaning. These are often not shared when learning a language.
Students coming from other countries to the United States often grew up speaking English, and they're very fluent in it, yet the meanings behind things can be different based on the context or, how they're phrased. And so these kinds of miscommunications can build up and lead to culture shock. Students thinking that they understand what's going on, but then finding out later that things were different than they understood. I been friends with a woman named Shuri, and she's from Israel. And she came to the United States and was a student where I was a student at Wayne State University. We were both in grad school together, and Shuri's a very direct speaker, as am I, but directness isn't something that's shared by a lot of Americans to the extent that she has. It's a characteristic of Israeli culture. So she was told by her advisor repeatedly that it would be a good idea if she looked at certain types of literature and maybe considered, including some things in her dissertation. Well, Shuri thought that these were suggestions because in Israel, when you're given a comment like that, it's a suggestion, and people don't have any problems with power. And so it would be appropriate for a supervisor to say, Shuri, do this. And Shuri would do it and wouldn't be offended. And so it came as a real shock to her after a year or so of working with an advisor that she was told that she was not a person who you could work with. And she was kicked out of the program, and Shuri had to start all over again. Well, not only did Shuri lose the time that was necessary for her to complete her degree, but she realized that she'd misunderstood a lot, and that relationships that she had, she didn't understand. And it led to serious culture shock and a reevaluation of her position. And it was fortunate that she had developed friendships with people like me and another friend of mine named Morel, and we were able to explain to her what went wrong. And she started over again in a different department, and she ended up getting her PhD. what I really want you to get to know is how you can use sociology to understand your daily life.